Qualified buyers must take delivery from dealer stock through 9/3/24.
Hi, I'm Tracy, your diamond girl at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Shopping for the perfect diamond can be difficult, but that's why I've trained my staff to be helpful and to offer you a stress-free diamond experience. Pick your sparkle and use our easy layaway plan. Every woman deserves an exquisite diamond from your diamond girl at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. We don't work on commissions.
We work for smiles and I-dos.
So if you're tired of high-pressure salespeople, stop by and see us today at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
Ellis Agency Insurance has been serving Panama City and Bay County for years. They offer a full line of affordable insurance coverage of all types. Many people are attracted to Ellis Agency Insurance because of their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Call independent agent Johnny Ellis for a true comparison of your personal or business insurance. Ellis Agency Insurance at the Old Cullen Insurance location, 1134 Harrison Avenue, across from Dandy Donuts and Deli. Call 763-1627.
So you've heard the saying that if you love your job, you'll never have to work? Well, it's true.
I've worked for Brock Lawn and Pest Control for many years. The commitment to the needs of customers
and their commitment to each employee makes Brock a company I'm very proud to be a part of.
Brock's core values are also mine. Give people more than they expect and always honor your promises.
This isn't a job, it's a service to help people live a healthier lifestyle.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control, our family protecting your family.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Diego.
Hi, Diego. It's Jennifer Coolidge. You know, I just want to say your cashback match makes me feel so special. It really inspired me.
That's great. Doubling the cashback you've earned at the end of your first year is what we do.
Well, I'm doubling everything now. Double dating, double dipping, double feature, double header, double whammy. You know, basically double or nothing.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions.
Now.
And now, we're taking...
With the first pick.
This is the last ball you got to bat. The Inside Drive. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
They didn't want me, tell them how they all on me. Back then they didn't want me, tell them how they all on me. Back then they didn't want me, tell them how they all on me. Back then they didn't want me, tell them how they
Good
all
Tuesday morning. You're listening to the Inside Drive, the Best of Bay winning Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 in Panama City Beach, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. Along that beautiful Forgotten Coast. You can watch, like, listen, comment, subscribe, share, all of those wonderful things on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Just search it up, ESPN Northwest Florida. You can also download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. That one you do need to search 104.3, and that is it. You can also head over to ESPNPC.com, find that Listen Live button, and you can also scroll down, find that TV channel button, AHS TVJ, $40 a month, all the channels you could want.
Very nice.
How are you doing on this beautiful Tuesday?
Mighty fine, right?
Mighty fine. Got to give a huge shout out to all of our listeners, followers, everybody out there. The results of the Best of Bay competition. We did not attend the gala last Thursday. A little too rich for my blood to go out there and see if we won or not knowing if you won or not. However, they posted it in the paper on Sunday, and guess what, Jay?
What's that?
Inside Drive won Best of Bay for radio personality and TV personality.
Unbelievable.
Still don't know how we got in the TV one. I guess because it's live streaming, they consider that TV. But yeah, no, congrats, Jay. Well done.
Well, thank you, Ryan. I've never won anything in my whole entire life before, so this is amazing.
Oh, you've won lots of things, Jay. Lots of golf tournaments. But yeah, no, big shout out to the listeners. We appreciate them and everything that they've done to make us feel special on this Tuesday. That's for sure. That's for sure. We got a lot to dive into today. Of course, it's Tuesday, so we got Brad Law coming up at 12:20 from the Auburn Sports Radio Network. We've also got Doc A. He's got some fun fantasy football draft stories for us coming up at 12:20. Don't know if he's going to dive into any of the his fantasy stuff there. It has to do with Buc-ee's. I don't know. Quick Braves update. Jay, not so good. Phillies took 3 out of 4 up there in Philadelphia, and now we only have a half game lead right now over the Mets in the wild card. Jay, could you see what that said on there?
I could tell you.
You could tell me.
Happy, unhappy from Travis.
Happy, unhappy. Yeah, I mean,
he's on the line.
Okay, all right. I was going to dive into some other stuff, but let's do it.
Okay,
let's do it, Travis.
What's up, guys?
Hey, how are you?
I have never been more happy and unhappy at the same time in my life.
Imagine if how happy you were if you were a Miami fan.
I would be incredibly happy.
Absolutely. They're just watching things just continue to go up in flames. That's for sure. So what are your thoughts on all this? Well, I was going to dive into it later, but let's get your thoughts. We'll talk about it a little bit later on as well.
Well, listen, I've been, and I said it this morning on the morning show, I have been on the let's give Billy a chance. Let's continue.
You have
to put up with it. Y'all have heard me calling and defend him, and now I can't do it. It is so bad. Like, for year 3 to look the worst out of all 3 years that he's been there, to start off the worst. I don't want to say look, because he definitely can turn it around. It would be a work of art, and he might be the best coach if he can turn that around. But as of right now, I would get him out of Gainesville. I mean, it's from the loss to
the
how
water bottle.
He talked about it, the water bottle, how he talked about it in the press conference. I mean,
I
like
didn't feel anything. Yeah.
You've already made all Florida fans very mad. They are already after your head. And then you're going to be like, oh, yeah, well, if our guys can focus on playing football instead of listening to these basement dwellers in Central Florida. I was like, man, are you even listening to what you're saying? You just told a whole bunch of aggravated people, that they're the reason.
Yeah.
And I was like, now your fate's sealed almost.
Well, and, even during the game, just watching the game, I mean, I watched the majority of that football game until it got a little bit out of hand, but you just didn't feel any energy or passion from your head coach. There just didn't look like any leadership. It was just flat for so long, and it was just really weird to see for a guy that's literally coaching for his job. But, yeah, some crazy stuff there. And then, of course, on the flip side, what's going on with Florida State is an absolute atrocity to their fan base, that's for sure. And that's probably a little bit of, you've got such a bad taste in your mouth of what happened in the game against Miami, but kind of bittersweet to see what Florida State's now doing. They're obviously really, really and I'm kind of seeing the same thing from Norvell. Like, what are you doing, man? Make some changes. I don't know. DJU is clearly not the guy. Just couldn't complete a pass, missing wide open guys in the corner of the end zone. I just was very surprised at the effort from both of Florida State and Florida when it came to 2 huge games. I mean, obviously playing Miami's a little different than playing Boston College, but you got to make a statement and make something happen in that one. I don't know. It just seems a little weird right now. Some things are in flux there with Florida State and Florida.
Well, I think, if I'm not mistaken, when Norvell came to Florida State, Jordan Travis was already there, right?
I believe so, yes. I believe so.
So when Jimbo Fisher was coaching his best years, his best quarterback was there. And wouldn't it be kind of funny if Mike Norvell is just Jimbo Fisher 2.0. They're amazing when he had his star, and then he's going to fall apart when that guy leaves for the NFL.
Y'all Florida State and Florida fans are just so daggum funny. You're so worried about the other squad when y'all are in shambles your own selves.
It's like the
I won't.
It's the self-loathing, right?
I won't deny it. We are in a big problem, and an even bigger problem than FSU in some ways, because ours has been going on. Now, you could make the case that FSU's in a bigger problem because they were projected to be so good, and they are not only even they're not even close.
Yeah. Here's my synopsis of week 1 of college football, Jay. You ready?
Go ahead.
You cannot solely rely on the transfer portal to be successful, nor can you solely rely on recruiting to be successful. However, recruiting is still the number one tool when it comes to having a program. And for example, like Georgia, you fill the holes with transfer portal guys. You don't revamp your roster. It's impossible. There's a reason why a lot of these guys are in the transfer portal. You can't get them to blend together when they haven't been on a team for so long. Yeah. Look at Clemson. Now, don't get me wrong. They played the best team in the country by far, and they got their butts whipped. But they couldn't even get a touchdown. They are solely relying on recruiting. Now, flip side, look at Florida State. They lost so many people from their 13-1 team last year. Completely different football team, solely relying on the transfer portal. And neither one of those strategies, in my opinion, have worked out. You still have to recruit, and you fill those holes with the transfer portal. And if you can't do that, I think you're going to see a lot of what we saw with Florida, Florida State, and Clemson this past weekend.
Yes.
You know what I saw in the Florida game that made me so mad was the fact that I looked at Cam Ward, and he could not have been going any slower through his progressions.
Oh, he had plenty of time.
and even when he handed it off, he just pretty much stood up straight, turned around as slow as he could, and handed it off.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no pressure in the backfield. This guy is feeling nothing. He is just rolling through the motions. It's relaxed. And it made me so mad. And another thing before I go, I know this is just kind of messed up, and maybe it tells for the Florida fan base, but Saturday my wife was like, oh, it's all right. It's just, it's just a game. It's just, this and that. And then last night, and I was yelling at the TV and doing all that kind of stuff. And then last night, she was yelling at the TV and doing all that, and I kind of put the couch back a little bit and just had a smile from ear to ear, just laughing. She was so mad. And, I was enjoying the pain of Florida State, but
I guess people who are in pain want to see other people in pain to make their pain feel better. I think it should be the opposite, though. I think everybody's team should do good, and then when you play each other, it matters more, because they're on a crash course for I've seen so many memes, playing on Nickelodeon, a slime game, playing on Tubi TV, whatever it may be, but it's just,
I saw a meme.
There was a lot of memes for both Florida and Florida State over the weekend. They were brilliant.
It had an Indian and a gator hugging, and it says, "Hug it out. It's just going to be a long season."
I saw a lot of memes that said "sim until next season" and stuff like that on relating to college football and things like that. But oh man,
that's what I want to do. I'm so as of right now, if he could turn this around, and I keep telling myself that, I'm like, look, maybe Miami is just this top tier team that's going to compete like crazy even in the playoffs. Maybe that is. I don't know that, or maybe we're just that bad. I'm kind of betting on we're that bad.
I'll leave you with this, Travis. You guys have to figure something out, and it may be firing Napier pretty quick, because your 2025 composite rankings right now in recruiting, you are 23rd in the country behind Rutgers, TCU, Washington, Georgia Tech. Florida State's not any good either. They're 18th right now. So, as I was talking about the transfer portal and recruiting, Miami just came in there and made a statement for those South Florida recruits, no doubt about it. Heck, they were trying to recruit players that were there visiting visiting Florida. So I think the hot seat for Napier that was hot going into the season is getting pretty close to purgatory right now. So we shall see.
Lane Kiffin, 2025.
Nah, he ain't leaving Ole Miss. He's going to win a national championship
You don't think?
first. No, he won't leave Ole Miss. No, not with the recruiting that's lined up at Florida right now.
He was wanting so bad to come to Florida at one point. I don't know.
In 1 point.
Well,
I think y'all going to be getting a new piece of the family, Brian Kelly.
There you go. Bring him over.
I do not want Brian Kelly, and that's what some people are saying. Like, people are like calling, like, I want Dion, and I'm like, for what? And they're like, well, he's better than Billy. I was like, that's how we got in this mess in the first place. Oh, he's better than Dan Mullen.
Dan Mullen sitting there on the college shows like, hey, I'm not at Florida anymore.
I don't want better than Billy. I want better than anybody. I don't. That's the crazy thing. I don't want Dion that's better than Billy, because Sam Pittman is better than Billy. Eli Drinkowitz is better than Billy. But I don't want them anywhere near Florida.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's the case of so many fans saying that, and that's like, Dion is a good recruiter. He's a good hype man, but, you know, they're like, well, he lost by just under a touchdown or a touchdown to everybody except for UCLA and Oregon and all that, and they won 4 games and after only winning 1. And I was like, so what you're saying is anybody with a heartbeat stomped them.
Yeah.
You know, anybody that had some kind of talent put a like a whooping on them every time, and they just barely beat the bad teams.
Well, and it really doesn't matter how many you get beat by. It just matters about those wins and losses at the end of the year, right, Jay?
That's exactly right.
There you go. Hey, Travis, appreciate you giving us a call. We're going to dive into a couple quick things before we get on the line with Doc A. Just remember, you got a lot more games to go, and it can only hopefully go up from here.
That can be a blessing and a curse. Remember that.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Travis. Be safe out there. We appreciate you calling in.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
I listened to the conversation. I know Mama told me one time if you can't.
I watched that this last weekend. Waterboy, yeah.
Did you?
Mama said that if you can't say anything good, don't say anything at all. Unfortunately, I mean, between the Gators and the Noles, there was
the Tigers, Clemson Tigers.
Yeah, there was not one good thing I can say. So I'll sit here and just breathe into the microphone.
Yeah, there you go. Not too loud. But yeah, Waterboy. Liam, he watched, remember we watched Dumb and Dumber last week? We got him to, he watched, what Adam Sandler movie did he watch? Oh, Billy Madison. Yeah. Loved that. And then he watched The Sandlot yesterday as well. So he's covering both aspects, but he loved The Sandlot as well. He's like, that was a really good movie. I was like, yeah, it was.
That's a great one.
It's a timeless one when you can still relate to 9-year-olds however many years. Well, that was 93, so 31 years later. David.
Well, I watched this movie last night that has nothing to do with sports. Really isn't up my alley when it comes to genres of movies, but it's called Run, Hide, Fight. And it's about a school shooting. And like this girl, like she ends up getting out. Her mom passed away, so she's always kind of like having conversations with her mom. And then she's stuck in a school shooting, and she gets out of the school, but then goes back in like to help get other students out. And it was one of those ones that, you know me, I fall asleep like 15 minutes into the movie. And like this one was like, I was like, man, I gotta watch this thing. I did fall asleep with about 15 minutes to go. But I'll catch back up on that tonight. It was, phenomenal though. Great acting, and just like really had me captured of like, this is how, these things kind of do go down sometimes, and for the very same reasons that they do go down sometimes. So I guess my one big takeaway is, as we always say, treat people with the utmost respect. Treat them how you want to be treated. Yeah. But also go watch that movie.
Yeah, there you go.
Even you Florida State and Florida fans.
That's
treat
right.
them with respect.
Why can't we be friends? Why can't
You're
we?
both having a tough go. So. All right, that actually was going to be my poll question today. Who is the best Florida college football team?
Miami.
Well, throw UCF in there. As well.
All right, Miami.
Yeah. I'll go Miami, UCF, and put Florida and Florida State in there too.
Tied.
just to see. Yeah, that's a third. It's a.
Where's USF at in this?
Yeah, hey, FIU in there too.
They can. Some team will get a win from our poll. This, we'll see who wins.
Yeah,
they'll get at least a win.
I think Miami to Cristobal's. He's done a lot of work in the portal too. Most of his guys are in the came from the portal, but I think they're buying into the culture a little more down there in Coral Gables, South Florida.
Well, it's amazing what happens when you get the quarterback. You know what I mean? You get that. And we still got a lot to see from
week one.
Exactly. It's week one. But what's the thing that we talked about is let Florida State down the last 2 weeks. And what was the thing that we kind of pointed out for the reason that Boston College could hang in this game with Florida State and ultimately ended up just dominating that game last night. I didn't get to see the first half, but the score was indicative of how that was going at 14-6. Yep. And then you saw the second half and it was like, my goodness, do you guys know how to tackle? But that's not even the main point, right? You're getting dominated at the line of scrimmage.
Both sides of the line.
Both sides of the line of scrimmage, and Miami looked really good, at least on the offensive side of their front. I think the defensive side did a good job as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Florida State in the first half, they had opportunities, and you can't miss wide open touchdown passes as a Power 4 Division I college quarterback. There's a reason why he left Clemson. There's a reason why he's not at Oregon State anymore.
Well, because Florida State seemed like greener pastures. That's why he's at Florida State. But last year you look at the statistics from him. He's a middle of the road. He was top 11, I believe, in yards. Yep. All right, but yards doesn't tell the whole story.
Absolutely
Didn't turn the ball over a ton last year, but still kind of middle of the road. And when you're going from a guy like Jordan Travis to DJU, you could experience some problems. Especially, it's wild to see this Florida State front just letting guys in.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have time. Like, you're getting, and also one thing they teach you as a young quarterback growing up, you can't hitch. You can't have a hitch.
Yeah.
Every time he drops back, he's got a hitch. He's never getting the ball out quick, and he's got to get the ball out quick in order to be successful. And there was so much hesitation, and it really led to so many incomplete passes. I think he was right at a little bit less than 50% in his completion percentage. So some pretty crazy stuff.
The one thing that comes to my mind, Ryan, was I think the climax of the game was in the third quarter, 4th and 5, and I think Florida State went for it in the third quarter.
On their own 47, I believe.
Yeah, and
yep.
I think at that point, you're showing your cards at that point of like, hey, we're a weaker team than you guys are, and we're drowning here.
Yeah.
We're drowning.
Well, at that point in the game too, that was kind of that was a pivotal moment.
That was
in the game, and they didn't convert, and I don't know why he didn't punt, because they haven't obviously had much success converting. So.
Well, it did seem like late in the game when Norvell punted. Like, that was like punting on the season.
Yeah.
And for the Florida State defense, I don't think they could put out a big lighter with a water hose.
That's right.
Absolutely not.
Ralph Jackson said so.
He did. I heard it. Live on the air. Oh, man. Look, there's still an opportunity they could make the playoff, but they're going to have to either figure out a whole new team or get rid of...
They got 1% chance.
Hey,
now.
They got to run the table in the ACC and hope for some things. So, but... Excuse me, that North Carolina and North Carolina State Wolfpack pick for the ACC might not be looking so bad, Jay.
Yep.
When we get back, we'll be joined by our good friend Steve Alexander, but we like to call him Doc A. You guys are listening to The Inside Drive here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The afternoon underdogs.
I go too far back. I remember waiting at the record store at midnight for the CD to come out.
But Brian, we know you're old. All right. Oh wait.
Hey, at least I said CD.
That's true.
4 to 6 weekdays. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Tuesday morning. As we head into this afternoon and evening, likely thunderstorms and some clouds, and a high of 92 with a gentle breeze coming out of the east at 11 miles per hour. For tonight, some clouds and a likelihood of thunderstorms, and a low near 76. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy in the morning, followed by likely thunderstorms and a high around 86. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Are you looking for a place to take a leak?
Do you have a truck, tractor, or other hydraulic equipment leaking or not performing as it should? At Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, we can get you back to work. Do you have a busted or leaking hose? We can typically replace them while you wait. Hydraulic cylinder or pump needing repair? In many cases, we can have it back to you the next day. Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, 6840 Highway 77 in Southport, just south of Tractor Supply. The best place in town to take a leak.
In the jewelry business, there is no substitute for experience. David Adamson has over 46 years of experience, 32 of those in Lynn Haven. Designing and creating fine jewelry is more than a job for David, it's a joy. If you're looking for a spectacular jewelry design that says you, or perhaps you need your jewelry repaired, look no further than David Adamson Designer Jewelry. All work is done in-house and always to your complete satisfaction. Stop in today at David Adamson Designer Jewelry, 830 Ohio Avenue in Lynn Haven. They're on Facebook and at pcjeweler.com.
Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. And now,
Doctor, my eyes.
Doc A joins the Inside Drive. It's just what the doctor ordered.
Oh, doctor! Talk to your doctor before use.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is how we do it.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive, the best of Bay winning Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Jay, it's Tuesday, and you know what that sounder means.
Is it Doc A time?
It's Doc A in the house. Doc, how are you doing Tuesday morning after a wild weekend of college football? Here we are 2 days from the start of the NFL season. What a time to be alive.
What a time. Had a great football draft last night.
Nice.
Won some money on Boston College.
Ooh, very nice.
Hit USC the night before. Little tough to catch some of those games around here with DirecTV.
Yes, I saw that. I made the switch from DirecTV last year, and I'm still thankful I did.
That is an issue right
ESPN,
now.
like, how could you not have ESPN and ABC? Like, that's insanity. And
Johnny B's, my house, all my friends, like, we're still all DirecTV people. So even the sports bars in my town don't have the ESPN right now, and it is you don't realize how much you love ESPN until it's taken away from you.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, there's not a lot of money that DirecTV has, and there's not a lot of money ESPN has. I mean, I know they're fighting over the money. I mean,
DirecTV's been, and I was a DirecTV customer for probably, 12 plus years. And there was always I remember, Doc, do you remember the channel, you may not, Versus back in the day? That was where they played a lot of the hockey games, and the playoffs were coming up, and they didn't have Versus, didn't they? And then they always seemed to have some kind of issue. Well, Bally's had the issue too, not that long ago. So it's just it just always gets, but of all things, how can you not have ESPN network on
my prediction is this will magically get resolved before Saturday gets here. That's my hot take.
Michigan, Texas, or what?
Anything.
Okay, I got you.
Especially before Monday Night Football coming up in 8, 7, or 6 days.
I'm guessing that this gets resolved because usually, occasionally you lose an NBC or whatever, and it usually gets resolved pretty quickly. I have a feeling that with college football going on and all of the phone calls that are pouring in to various places, it'll get resolved. I'm confident.
And I've got to imagine that there's a lot of people that will just pull their subscription and go sign up with YouTube or
KHS TV.
Just go to ESPNPC.com, click on the TV channel button, $40 a month, unlimited channels. Don't ask questions, just sign up. Just sign up.
We should be getting paid by all kinds of different people.
I believe that is a fact. That's for sure. I've been pushing Hard Rock's buttons, trying to get them to do something because there's another radio station here in our market that has a Hard Rock commercial, but it's impossible to get to talk to anybody or have them.
By the way, boys, congratulations on the award, man. That is awesome.
We appreciate that. It's, we appreciate our listeners and everybody out there here in Bay County and beyond for, feeling the little button to click and vote for us. So we took down a long-standing radio show personality that had won Best of Bay, seems like forever. So there's a new sheriff in town, Jay, and it's called the Inside Drive.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Doc, well, you were talking about your fantasy football draft. You said you might have some funny stories from some drafts as well. Always a good time when you have funny stories.
Well, I've got a new story and an old story, and they're both well, the first one's not that great, but it's hilarious. So we are old school here, and we do the NCAA pool, as you know, is a paper project that I have been doing. We'll see if we do that this March, but we do our fantasy football draft in a guy's house. Everybody is there live. We've got the paper draft board up on the wall. We've got the stickers, and it's a live draft. Like there's no computers even in the room, which is bizarre. But so we have a new guy in the league, my buddy Luke, who is my son's best friend in fourth grade when we moved to Georgia in 2004. He's in the league, and with his first draft pick, the 10th overall pick in our draft, he took Ladd McConkey.
Keith Fleming would be stoked about that.
Ladd McConkey in the first round. I think I had him ranked like 100.
He's down there.
Overall. So he took his 10th round pick with his first round pick, and we all got a good laugh out of that one.
Strategy.
And I play him in week 8, and I know he's going to beat me because I just roasted him all night. Of course. And that's the great thing about having everybody together in the same room. Like, he picks Ladd McConkey, the place blows up, everybody's yelling and screaming. And it was funny, the commissioner's fiance was in the room, and we're all, like, we were trying to determine the draft order, and everybody's drinking, and everybody's screaming at
talking
the commissioner.
over each other, yeah.
She got so mad. She's like, you guys are so disrespectful. This is ridiculous. And everybody just got quiet. And I wanted to say, dude, you're not even in the league. Like, go inside and do something else. Leave us alone. But it just got real quiet and awkward for about 20 minutes. But we overcame that. So
you adapted and overcame.
I took Jacoby Myers late in that draft. And my buddy looked at me. He's like, dude, I think he retired. And I'm like, you're messing with me, right? He's like, no, I think he retired. And then he was like, oh, actually, he didn't retire. But when he said that, I was thrown back into my 1990, my year 2000 draft. And Fred Lane was a running back for the Indianapolis Colts. We were doing a live draft in Indy. And tragically, Fred Lane's wife shot him and killed him in July of that year. And it was gruesome and horrific. It was a horrible story, actually, and there's nothing funny about it. But when our draft got there in September, my buddy Grabhorn drafted Fred Lane with his, second round pick. And we're like, dude, are you sure you want to do that? He's like, oh, yeah, I'm all in. We're like, okay. So we put his name up on the board, and we're like, you just drafted a deceased person. And it was, that was kind of classic.
Ooh, I'm sure there's a lot of fun draft stories. You know what I mean? That's not fun. What happened, but funny that somebody picked him up and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, his draft was over at that point. And then my other buddy, sort of like the Ladd McConkey, the year that Glenn Robinson came out of Purdue, my buddy was a big Purdue fan, and Glenn Robinson was taken number 1 in the 1994 draft. And this is in Michael Jordan's prime. Like, the 95 Bulls were thought of as the greatest team of all time. He drafted Glenn Big Dog Robinson, number 1 overall in our fantasy basketball draft, instead of Michael Jordan or Akeem Olajuwon or anyone else. So we all had a good time with that as well.
There's always somebody in the league that wants to kind of go against the grain, so to speak, when it comes to taking some picks. Well, speaking of shootings, if you drafted Ricky Pearsall, you might want to either put him on your IR or drop him, because he's on the PUP list, as he will not be available until week 5, if he's even available. But pretty crazy stuff. I didn't have a chance to talk about it in the first segment, but what an off season for the Niners.
Jeez.
I think Pearsall is going to overcome this and come back and shock the world.
And it's going to be an unbelievable story. But, he was, Jay, I don't know if you
was it a robbery going bad or something?
So he, and, I was like, stay in Santa Clara, buddy. Don't go into San Francisco. But he was going into San Francisco to do some autograph signing and some memorabilia signings, just like we talk about all the time here on the show. And, he was wearing his Rolex, and a teenager came up to him to try to steal his Rolex and ended up shooting him. And then Ricky actually got the gun and shot the kid back as well, and then walked to the ambulance. And luckily, the police officer that responded was, because he was, he's like, am I gonna die? And he's breathing, and that's the last thing you want to do when you have, you could bleed out potentially.
Right.
And she kind of helped him calm down. And,
jeez.
Obviously he's very lucky it didn't hit any vital organs and went right through and out his back. But man, crazy offseason for the Niners.
No
but
kidding.
he did play at Florida, so it's kind of one of those things.
Plaxico Burress shot himself in the leg
in a club
prior to that one season. And then Steve Stefanovich, who I've talked about, the first pair of basketball shoes I'd ever seen a kid get, he shot himself when I think he played for Colorado, and he accidentally shot himself in Colorado, and he made up a story, I think, said that somebody tried to rob him or something, and there was a lot of controversy with that, and he was able to carry on. He was the number 2 pick in the draft and had a long career after that. But these guys stay away from the guns.
Yeah, be careful.
Cheddar Bob, he shot himself in 8 Mile. You remember Cheddar Bob?
Cheddar Bob. Yeah. I do. Good stuff, Jay.
I feel like there should be a song about Cheddar Bob.
Jay, sing it.
I don't have it.
Yes, you do. Everybody's got it.
I needed to do something because I was ready to play Gangster's Paradise back here, and I felt like that was in bad taste.
Yeah, more appropriate. Yeah. I mean, I was like, just do the autograph signing not in San Francisco. Stay away from San Francisco. It's not a great place.
I apologize for the Fred Lane story. That may not have been appropriate, but at the time it was.
It's not appropriate. No. I mean, it is actually. I was going to talk about the Ricky Pearsall thing regardless, so it just gave me a nice little segue into it.
Absolutely,
so I appreciate that. All right, Doc, the Sports Ethos podcast. What have you guys been talking about? What's the hot topics right now going on as you guys get ready for the NBA season coming up?
We're just popping around the league, talking to different beat writers and people associated with different teams. We had the Pacers guy, Scott Agnes, on a couple of days ago, and turns out that Scott and I went to the same high school, and he got his whole start in radio at that high school, and he said that the high school radio station was better than the radio program they had at Indiana University when he went to college, and he owes his whole career to that radio station, and I really did not take advantage of that situation when I was there. I should have been all about that radio station and those classes that were associated with that, but I didn't really get into the whole radio thing until I went to college, so I missed out on that. But we talked a lot about Caitlin Clark and a lot about the Pacers, and just some good old stories. He was a ball boy for the Pacers, and he was telling me that they used to find like 8 pairs of shoes in the trash after games, and some of them were big names, and they would pull those out of the trash and take them home, and that kind of made me sad that players were just throwing their shoes away instead of giving them away to kids. But I guess that was a thing back then, and maybe it still is. I don't know, but. Talking Pacers, we got a bunch of episodes where we break down like the top 12 and then the 12 through 24 and 24 through 36. And it's kind of getting people ready for the upcoming draft season. There's not a lot of news right now. There's not much going on. So gives us time to tell stories and just have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And check it out, sportsethos.com.
Yeah, and I used their draft guide to draft my football team last night, and ESPN is telling me that I have I think that's the 3rd best team in the league. I think it may be better than that, but we'll see. I don't have any running back depth, boys. I laid off the running backs this year, and I'm usually that guy that's hoarding running backs, and I draft as many as I can so other people are weak at running back. But this year I kind of laid into wide receivers, and somehow I came out of there with 3 quarterbacks in a 1 quarterback league, which is weird. But I have Aaron Rodgers, I have Kyler Murray, and I have Caleb Williams. And I think Caleb Williams could be awesome. I think Kyler Murray is going to be incredible, and I'm kind of excited to see Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. And I just felt like, you know what? I'm taking all 3 of these guys. I don't care.
Well, hopefully Aaron Rodgers can avoid Leonard Floyd. Jay, check out this irony, right?
Uh-huh.
Who did I can remember. The Jets played the Bills in Monday Night Football Week 1 last year, and Leonard Floyd is the one who sacked Aaron Rodgers when he tore his Achilles tendon.
Okay, I do remember that.
Guess who Leonard Floyd guess who Leonard Floyd signed with this offseason?
Don't tell me the 49ers.
The San Francisco 49ers. Guess who the San Francisco 49ers are playing?
Matchup.
That's it, Monday Night Football. Same exact scenario.
Same song, different verse.
Well, we'll see. Yeah. We'll see come Monday what happens. But
the Jets have a really good defense, and I really wanted to draft the Jets defense. My buddy Chris took him right in front of me. I got kind of mad. But he's not even going to play the Jets Week 1 because they've got a tough matchup with San Francisco. Like, that game is going to be must-see TV, I think.
Oh, it's going to be a good one, no doubt, especially with Salah being the former defensive coordinator for the Niners. If anybody knows the Kyle Shanahan schemes, it's certainly Robert Salah, Jay.
What about your man cave? Have we talked about his man? You got a man cave, right, Doc A? Huh?
Yeah, it's like a sports memorabilia museum. It's my office, but it's just full of crap.
Okay. Is that where you hang out and watch football, or is that, or you're?
Yes.
Okay, I got you.
Yep, I've got all my shoes and all my autographs and Sports Illustrated covers and jerseys and all this bobbleheads everywhere, and I've got 3 TVs hooked up and my computer, and it's the lab, so to speak. And
I like that.
I tend to sit in here and watch a bunch of different stuff all going on at the same time.
There you go.
So is this a basement, or is this a actual bedroom, or?
It actually looks like my mother's attic is what it looks like, because it's in the attic of our home. We built a master bedroom and an attic, or a master bedroom and my office in the attic. So the office is right next door to my bedroom. So if I just had a microwave oven up here, I think I would never have to go downstairs. But the kitchen is downstairs. But I've got the fridge, and I've got a bed in my office, and I've got all my crap in here. So it's messy, but it's fun. Like when people come over, they're like, "Hey man, can I go walk around your office for a little bit and just look at all your stuff?" I'm like, "Sure."
It's homey.
It's fun.
Well, and it sounds like you should sell tickets and have a little tour there, like the museum, the history of Dr. A.
Absolutely.
I could. I've got the Tiger Woods autographed hat. I've got the Peyton Manning autographed golf trophy. I've got the autographed jerseys and all the Sports Illustrated covers and Dominique's shoes and everything else. And I could make it a museum if I really wanted to, but I have a feeling it would be attended by about 5 people a year.
Hey, you open it up for one day a year. You create that supply and demand.
You can't touch in a museum, though. Would you allow touching?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, good.
Do you not remember our afternoon delight debrief from last week where the kid touched the vase over there and somewhere and it fell and he was invited back?
Okay,
they allow touching at that museum. Certain museums.
Oh, dude. Right. Speaking of breaking a vase or touching a vase, my brother was trick-or-treating in like 1979, and he knocked over a vase right inside the door of the house 3 houses down from us, the Bells. And Mr. Bell came and saw Mr. Alexander and said, "Your kid just broke our vase." And I wasn't paying attention to it, but it was some historic artifact, like $10,000 piece of pottery, and I'm not even sure how that all ended up. But it was I don't think it was a very pleasant interaction.
More trick than treat there, huh?
Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. With that being said, our time is coming to an end. Doc, real quick, tell everybody where they can find all your awesome information, not only on Sports Ethos, but with your info as well.
Yeah, sportsethos.com. If you need an NFL draft guide, if you're drafting today or tomorrow, go get that thing. It's like $8, and these guys spend so many hours on these draft guides, and they're incredible. The NBA draft guide is, I think it's live right now. My guys column is not there yet, but it's coming. And then during the season, I'll be doing fancy basketball stuff for ESPN. So if your league is on ESPN, you'll see my stuff on there. And I'm on Twitter, X, whatever, DOCKTORA, female nurse is what I believe that actually means. But Doctora on Twitter is my Twitter handle.
Man, en Espanol, female nurse. I love it. Doc A, we appreciate your time. As always, enjoy week 1 of the NFL football season.
Congratulations again, guys. That's awesome. I'm proud to be a small part of it.
Oh, you're a big part.
I will talk to you guys next Tuesday.
Sounds great. That's Doc A. Go follow him out there in the world of sports. You're listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're taking the Inside Drive.
I follow a lot of soccer and basketball on Instagram, and you have some of these NBA players that are like, whoa, man, the Europeans, they're working on fundamentals at a young age, where we're just going to tournaments and playing these games. They're really learning the game inside out before they start.
Join Ryan Mulvey.
Thank you very little.
Middays 11 to 1 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida is thrilled to introduce the newest members of the Panama City Beach Chamber to our vibrant business community.
Welcome to the Beach Chamber. Beach Dermatology and Skin Wellness Clinic. Ventina Cleaning Services. Local Link Marketing. And Turf Pro Lawn and Pest Control.
We're here to support your success and help you connect with our community.
Congratulations from ESPN Northwest Florida.
And the Panama City Beach Chamber of Commerce, reaching Bay County and beyond.
Hey there, business owners. Do you feel lost in a sea of numbers, struggling to navigate your day-to-day accounting? At Lighthouse CPAs, they specialize in guiding businesses to make more money and keep more of what you make. From bookkeeping to tax planning, they've got you covered. Plus, with their user-friendly software, managing your finances has never been easier. Spend less time on paperwork and more time growing your business. Call Lighthouse CPAs 850-785-5254.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins.
Join the millions of people who are celebrating going hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. Footwear you just step into and they're on.
It's crazy how something as simple as a pair of shoes have made my life better.
After trying Skechers Slip-ins, I want all my shoes to have this technology. See what everybody can't stop talking about. Go hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
If you're not scanning while the cashier is begging, we're judging you a little.
Why am I working at the grocery store now?
It's the Inside Drive with Ryan and Jay. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios at ESPN Northwest Florida.
And I can proudly say that today, I do not freebase cocaine.
Chicken. Chicken heat.
That's why you put on your headphones before we go into the segment.
I can hear it.
No, you completely missed it.
What?
He had a great line before Chicken Head came on
did?
that he played. Absolutely.
What was it? Come on.
I can't tell you now. You weren't listening.
Oh,
you have to go back and watch the show.
Yeah, the whole show.
The whole kit and caboodle. I know you got time for
And
all
I worked hard on that, brother.
I know. It was more for you than me. I know.
Come on.
I know.
That's what paying attention gets you around here.
That's it. In life.
You said trick or treat in the previous segment. Y'all were talking about trick or treating, so I take you out with a little Otis Redding trick or treat, and then I bring you in with a little, and I can proudly say, I do not freebase cocaine. And then we go right on into Chicken Head, baby.
I like it.
Hey,
I like it.
That's why That's why we have some awards, you know?
Yeah.
That's what DJ Davy Crockett brings to the table.
He does.
This is the three-headed monster in here, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. All right, Jay, since Jay has to leave early today.
What? What did that happen? 5 minutes ago?
No, about 3 minutes before the show.
Oh, okay.
But
10:57.
All good. All good. No, we got to talk. We may not be able to do the afternoon delight debrief today. We've just got so much to get to, but we'll see how it all shakes out. Of course, appreciate Doc A coming on with us as he always does on Tuesdays. But let's start with this, right? We all picked, not David, because he was a very, very busy boy last Friday. So he did not have a chance to do a parlay, but did a great job calling the Mosley Dolphins football game.
My busy day today will be Thursday.
Okay.
So Friday I'll be available.
Ooh.
For 2 full hours.
2 full hours right here on the Inside Drive. And Mosley plays Thursday night against
Rickards.
That's right. At home away.
It's at home, baby.
Ooh,
First home game of the season.
Even though they played at Tommy Oliver.
Well, yeah, but they weren't the home team. No, they had the crowd there on the away side of the field. Man, I love doing play-by-play.
Yes, you're dang good at it, too. There's no doubt about it. We'll talk a little local scores in the final segment, but all right, here we go. Not the greatest day. I'll go through mine first. My single game parlay was Georgia minus 10.5. I bought down the points a little bit. Should have known that they were absolutely going to wallop them. So that did. Over 30.5 for Georgia, scoring over 30.5 points individually. How many end up scoring, Jay? Do you remember off the top?
36-3, 33-3.
I got 30, it right here.
33-3, 36-6.
What is it? All right, Georgia. Where is Georgia?
Oh, what was it at, I think 37-3?
34-3. So Georgia covered
37.
their own. I thought the over-under of 48.5 was a little low. I thought wrong because Clemson only scored 3 points. So 2 out of my legs, but you need 3 out of the 3 to stand up in a 3-leg parlay.
Always got to have that third leg.
That third leg.
That's right.
That's where you get the extra power. I mean, you get the big odds boost. When 2 is easier to hit than 3. That's why that third leg really props up that parlay.
The third leg really multiplies.
Absolutely.
It does.
Absolutely.
It does.
And I didn't hit the third leg.
Yeah.
So Georgia did not. They did not. I did an individual game there with Georgia. Didn't make it happen. Jay, you did Colgate plus 2.5. Over 57.5, and Colgate the money line. None of those hit in the 3-game single 3-game single parlay. I like you.
Not
reaching
surprised.
out
I'm not surprised.
And Colgate lost straight up to Maine.
Yeah,
you should have known.
You down with SGP? Yeah, you know me.
There you go. On my 3-game parlay, I did not do very well at all. It's always easier looking back, of course. I took South Dakota State plus 9.5. They ended up losing, I think, by at least 2 or 3 scores to OK State. I took Bama minus 31.5. They cruised in Kalen DeBoer's first game as the Alabama head coach. And then I took West Virginia plus 8.5. And West Virginia despite the weather delays and all those things, Penn State just kind of dominated that football game. So I missed that one. You had Miami minus 2.5. That obviously hit in their dominant performance over the Gators. You had Oklahoma State minus 9.5. That hit as well. And the only one that you did not get on that 3-game parlay, which was kind of surprising, and I won't fault you for this one, is Vandy beating Virginia Tech, because you had Virginia Tech minus 13.5. So didn't hit that one either. Ryan Warren was a fun Friday with us last Friday. His 3-game parlay was Oklahoma State minus 9.5, Miami money line. Those both hit. And then Michigan, he had Michigan minus 21.5. He was within a point, I think 2 points, because I think Michigan won by 20 in that one over Fresno State.
Yeah, it was 30-10.
But out of the 6 different parlays we did, 3 single games and 3 3-leg parlays, Ryan Warren did hit the single game parlay that he put out there. That was Oklahoma State minus 9.5. That was over 53.5 total points, and Oklahoma State with the money line.
And that game between South Dakota State for a while was looking a little
the Jackrabbits,
iffy, man.
Baby. The
yes, sir. And how about Oregon, man? I know that it's early on here, but what was it, 24-14, the final against the Vandals of Idaho?
Yeah. And they were down there, going into the fourth quarter? Am I thinking of a different game? I might be thinking of a different game. But, hey, they got the win.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between some of these other programs. That is for sure.
Interesting.
All right. What do you want to do next? The Pick'em or the individual SEC games?
I want to know where I stand with you guys out of week 1 because...
So the Pick'em?
Yeah.
Well, you and David are tied. So we did our 3 games prior. We did the Thursday night games. I had 2, David had 2, and you had 1. Then we did and we had Ryan pick the games with us as well. Then we did Clemson and Georgia. All 4 of us picked Georgia. Georgia won that one, but we just said
37-3.
34.
34-3. I'm going to be stuck on
34-3.
He passed the test.
We got it. And then the next matchup we picked was that Penn State, West Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
I took West Virginia, and I was trying to stick with my parlay, so I took West Virginia. All 3 of y'all took Penn State. Penn State won that one fairly handedly after they kind of pulled away 34-12 in that one. That game took...
The weather delay really took Morgantown and West Virginia out of it, so, you know, it's just kind of like long flights. More West Virginia's got an excuse there, right?
You know, long drives from the locker room to the field at Doak Campbell there. All right, speaking of Florida universities, Miami and Florida, I knew it too, but I picked Florida, me and David did, and Ryan, Warren, and Jay, you picked Miami. So I lost both of those. And then only one person took the Wolfpack over the Troy Trojans, and the Troy Trojans ended up losing to Nevada. David Hayes got the win in that one, but that was it for David Hayes. The next game we picked was Notre Dame and Texas A&M. All 3 of us, except for David, Ryan Warren as well, picked Notre Dame. David Hayes took the Aggies, but he's kind of been taking the Aggies all year in all sorts of pick'ems. Notre Dame got that one. Were you guys surprised about that football game?
No, I thought that game went exactly how I kind of was expecting it. I thought both quarterbacks were going to be underneath 200 yards, and they were. It was a defensive battle, and Notre Dame just kind of got the job done up front there. Could also be a long season here for Texas A&M. I mean, I don't think Notre Dame's that good. I think their defense is that good, but I think their schedule kind of benefits from the teams that they'll be playing against. But watch out for USC, because I was not expecting them to have a defense, and at least against LSU, they did.
Speaking of USC, LSU, that was our second to last pick. 3 of you guys picked LSU, and one of us, me, picked USC and went with the men of Troy. They got the victory.
Good job.
And, it was a fun game for Sunday Night Football. Not a walk-off, but basically a walk-off. They tried to just run a draw to get the ball in the middle of the field and, ran it in for a touchdown, and the rest was history. 27-20 in that one, I believe.
Yeah, that was the final score there. How about number 10 for USC with 2 incredulous grabs?
Goodness gracious.
My goodness.
Ridiculous catches. I know you didn't see it.
I didn't see it.
Well, and then for LSU, it's like, so Garrett Nussmeier, not saying that he's not the answer. He's just got some growth to do. Kirk Herbstreit was saying, this is the guy that you want. Like, this is the position Nussmeier wants to be in. And just...
let him down the field for a field goal.
Yeah,
couldn't get it in. Both defenses. I was actually surprised about USC's defense.
Yeah, and LSU.
Yeah.
Really, LSU's defense was garbage last year, and both teams did kind of turn it up some. And I think you still got to watch out for both of these teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Miller Moss had a spectacular game despite only getting 1 touchdown pass, threw for 378 yards.
Career high.
But just a lot of stalling near the goal line when the field got a little smaller for both of those teams. But the men of Troy won that one. And then last but not least, the game last night, or something happened over there at Doak Campbell last night. Maybe it's the lack of seats, only 55-ish thousand there in Doak because they're doing the stadium renovation. Boston College.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
they could hear too clearly through the helmet communications last night.
Absolutely. Apparently the helmet communications, maybe that's it, throwing off some of these teams that they're used to using those signals and maybe do better with those signals. But as we talked about in the first segment with Travis, the Florida State, only team 0-2 in the entire country right now. Well, I don't know about that. There might have been a couple other teams that played week 0 and lost and then lost this week.
Nevada won.
Yeah, that's true, and they lost the first one.
Right.
Yeah.
So SMU, I think they were off, but they won, so it doesn't matter.
Southern Miss or
Hawaii? Hawaii won in their first game, and then they lost to UCLA, but that was close, 16-14.
Yep, absolutely. But yeah, Florida State, they got a lot of figuring out there to do. Completion rate. It's just, I don't know. DJU's not the guy.
I don't feel bad, but, Max was called a hygienic product by one of our listeners last week. And I felt like he took it pretty easy last week because he's been throwing shade at FSU for a while. It's going to be interesting to see what the listeners say about Max today. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut about Florida State. Just let Max take him off the leash. Here goes that Chihuahua, baby.
There you go. There you go. I mean, and that's the thing. This day and age in college football, you cannot judge a team in the year they're playing based off what they did last year, unless you're a Georgia, in Alabama, in Ole Miss, in Ohio State, one of these big-time people that continue to recruit well every year. You know, it's just changed so much. It's changed so much.
They even tried to use the 12th man last night.
I know.
Yeah.
Throw another guy out there, you still can't stop him.
I know.
Just goes to show. But after 2 weeks, I'm off to a small lead of 12, and then David and Jay are tied at 9.
Okay, 3 games.
Yeah, I only extended my lead by 1, and that was basically because of the USC and the Boston College.
Yeah.
Plus,
I'm trying to boost Jay's confidence over here.
Thank you, David Hayes. Thank you.
Somebody's got to.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. Anyway, when we get back, obviously, we might have some afternoon delight debriefs. We also got to do your tip of the week. But we'll talk about maybe some who's on the hottest of the 3 seats as well. But I do have some cool afternoon delight debriefs as well. You're listening to The Inside Drive on 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. We'll be right back.
Do you suffer from political talk radio fatigue?
We know that under the 49% rate, the U.S. economy is
Tune into the most fun and exciting new radio show on the Gulf Coast. It's The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. From the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. Middays 11 to 1 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Tuesday morning. As we head into this afternoon and evening, likely thunderstorms and some clouds and a high of 92 with a gentle breeze coming out of the east at 11 miles per hour. For tonight, some clouds and a likelihood of thunderstorms and a low near 76. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy in the morning followed by likely thunderstorms and a high around 86. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
It's time to pick your path and go big, go bold. You can drive away in a new 2024 Telluride from Bill Bird Kia. The 2024 Telluride protects what matters, and it's built for the long haul. Its technology will connect with confidence, and upscale all-around rugged look will take you onto your next adventure. The road is yours. Bill Bird Kia, the home of that 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. 20-year, 200,000-mile warranties and Bill Bird Kia warranty.
WVLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hey there, business owners. Do you feel lost in a sea of numbers, struggling to navigate your day-to-day accounting? At Lighthouse CPAs, they specialize in guiding businesses to make more money and keep more of what you make. From bookkeeping to tax planning, they've got you covered. Plus, with their user-friendly software, managing your finances has never been easier. Spend less time on paperwork and more time growing your business. Call Lighthouse CPAs 850-785-5254.
And now, the afternoon delight debrief with the 3 degenerates from the Inside Drive. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios.
Afternoon delight.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
Welcome back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida, your home for the Auburn Tigers. And coming up at 12:20, we'll be joined by the Director of Broadcast Operations. That is Brad Law from the Auburn Tigers after their huge start to the season, something I think the fans have been waiting a long time for. And we'll talk a lot about that with him at 12:20. They got a big matchup this week against Cal. Another one under the lights up there. I think that's a 2:30 game. Anyway, we appreciate you tuning in. 104.3 in Panama City Beach, and all of the beautiful Bay County. 101.9 in Port St. Joe. You can watch, like, listen, comment, subscribe, share, follow, call people inappropriate names, whatever you want to do right there on our social channels. That is Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Just search it up, ESPN Northwest Florida. Jay, download our free mobile app in
Google Play or Apple Store.
That one you just need to search
104.3.
And it'll pop right up there for you. Open up the app. It just automatically starts playing. It's a wonderful thing. If you are not going to have a chance to be at the Mosley Rickards game on Thursday night, you can just listen to that wherever you are. If you're not in your car, obviously, if you're in your car, just switch over the channel, or it's probably already on because you're listening to us right now.
That's right.
104.3. Also, want to give a big thank you to our studio sponsor, helping us along the way from the get-go. That is Bill Kramer and, Bill Kramer GM and Kramer Marine and Outdoor, right there at the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd Street. Lots of new vehicles needing to come in. 24s are on wheels, no pun intended, because they actually are. All the vehicles are. Great rates, great deals. Trade-in values still super high. They got express service, regular service, tires at cost. That's Bill Kramer GM. And then just around the corner on Frankfurt Avenue, that is Kramer Marine and Outdoor. They're a Yamaha outboard full-line dealer. Yamaha Master Certified Mechanics on staff. Mobile service, they'll come right to you. They sell Seaborn, Spyder, Sundance, and Skeeter. You can check out all that new and used inventory at KramerMarineandOutdoor.com. Jay?
Yes.
It's Tuesday.
Uh-oh.
Can you handle it?
Oh, what we got?
It's Jay's golf tip of the
I
week.
did mention we would do it.
Yikes.
Nothing?
Give me a tip on how to get worse at the game of golf. I've been too good lately.
Swing with your eyes closed.
Swing with your eyes closed. Swing low.
Well, you got a big match coming up this
tonight.
Today.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a good tip there, Ryan. What have we talked about the last couple of weeks?
Why are you asking me?
We talked about getting off your trail
yes,
leg.
and then you expanded on that last week.
Expanded on that. And then the head down deal is a myth.
It's a myth.
It's a myth.
Yeah.
It's a myth. Oh, where do we go from here, Ryan Mulvey?
This is the one thing you have to do on the show.
Where do we go? Let's see. Maybe some drills to get off that trail leg.
There we go. Talk about the dead leg.
There you go.
Or the third. Continue.
Trail. How about the two-toe tap? How about that one? Let's go with that one.
Two-toe tap?
Yeah, on your trail leg, you want a two-toe tap. Your
catch. It's good.
And college golf.
College and regular golf. You only need one toe to tap, though.
Y'all would convert this in the NFL, wouldn't you?
Yes, that's football in general. But you said the two-toe tap.
Right. So you want to toe tap when you swing, and you can't manufacture just toe tapping your right leg, which is your trail
or
leg.
your left leg if you're left-handed.
Yep. Then you are not transferring your weight over to that lead side. So 2 toe taps, and if it's easy to do, you're doing great. Keep going.
There you go. There you go. I always have to make sure we incorporate the left-handers because my dad's a left-hander.
That's right.
And he grew up with golf. He's like, they never have any clubs. Now, you can get pretty much anything custom-made left-handed now. But when he was kind of coming up playing golf, there's just never anything for left-handers. So
that's right.
I always got to make sure we include the left-handers in that one. But it's a great thing, and that's one of the first tips. The time you gave Liam worked with Liam is that's kind of what you were working on. And it's an important thing because it's a really easy thing to try to think about and remember, too. Like if your weight is not shifted enough to your front side where you can lift your toe up and tap it a couple times,
that's right,
then you're not cleared to that lead side. And you'll just always kind of be stuck. You won't get everything you can as far as consistency, distance, and accuracy. So
and try to get that right knee to kiss that left knee.
Ooh,
you want the right knee
smooch?
to a little smooch.
A little moochy poo?
Yep. Because if you're hanging back on your right side.
We need a sounder for that.
Yeah.
Got my knees over here like Alabama fans, baby, kissing cousins.
So your knees are related, as they are, because they're both Davids.
Yeah, kiss them knees.
One thing at a time.
Okay.
Let's not overwhelm the listeners when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Don't know if we're going to have time to get some Afternoon Delight debriefs. We got Brad Law coming up next, then Jay's got to bounce, and me and David will talk about some local action in the final segment. But we need to talk a little golf real quick. I know we're in football season. But man, what a season your boy Scotty Scheffler had.
My boy
dominated the Tour Championship there, and I'm going to be honest. I think the restoring of Eastlake made it easier.
Yeah,
I mean 20 under par plus the 10 he got to start. That's pretty insane for your finale event of the season. But
well, my thought was after Thursday night, I was kind of disinterested because I knew Scheffler was going to hold on to it all Sunday. Here's my thought for it. Why not give somebody the number one, give Scheffler the option to invert the field, okay? And then he can basically...
I don't think any normal person would ever say, hey, 25 milli on the line? I'm going to give you guys a lead.
But listen
so
to me.
good, y'all get 10 under.
Go ahead.
But listen to me. We're in a betting world right now, so give Scheffler all right, you can invert the field, but let's go he'll get 3 times the amount of money if he wins.
Ooh.
It's just the pot grows out of nowhere.
Yeah.
We go from 25 to 75 million just because Scotty Scheffler had had the guts to do what no other golfer has ever done, inverting the field.
Inverting the field. Maybe that's it. That's it.
I like it.
Apparently,
you like it?
It was your idea. I think it's interesting. It's interesting. But yes, as you mentioned, Scotty Scheffler finished 30 under par, winning $25 million. Colin Morikawa, 4 strokes back, winning 12.5. Sahith Theegala, who called a 2-stroke penalty on himself, ended up winning $7.5 million. I was reading something that said, had that penalty not been called on himself, golf game of integrity for most people, he would have won another $2.5 million. Now, more things could have happened after he did that. But, if you just look at those 2 strokes for it, he said he had touched some of the sand when he was hitting a bunker shot. Did you see Scotty hit the shank out of the bunker on Sunday? Yeah, and then he makes a bogey on that hole and then proceeds to hit a 4-iron on 9, old 18 to like 3 feet. And then birdies like 4 more holes after that. So he recovered nicely after hitting the old Hazel rocket there. But yeah, crazy season there for Scotty Scheffler. His total earnings are now $64,228,357.
Is he on the PGA Tour or Live Tour?
It's funny you bring that up because you know why these purses are so big on the PGA Tour now.
Well, why is that right?
Is because the Live Tour came to existence. Had the Live Tour never came to existence, I don't think you have these signature events. I don't think you have the inflated purses. I really don't think that would have been the case. So he joined the tour in 2020, and he now has career earnings of $96,793,586 million, Jay. He also has here's players that have had 7 or more PGA Tour wins in a season. Scotty Scheffler has 7. That was this year. Vijay Singh had 9 in 2004. And then the other 4 names on this list, pretty easy to guess.
On the PGA Tour?
Yes.
Xander? No?
7 or more PGA Tour wins in a season.
In a season. Oh, Tiger Woods.
Yes, Tiger Woods had 8 in 99, 9 in 2000, 7 in 2007, and 8 also back in 2006.
Slammin' Sammy Snead. He had 72 PGA Tour wins.
Total, yeah.
Total.
But this is since 1983.
Okay. Oh, I got
But
you.
yeah, that's total as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so some fun facts in addition to Mr. Scheffler's action there. Scheffler earned, like I said, $62,228,357,000 this season. Jack Nicklaus's career earnings were $5,734,031 for his entire career. $5.7 million.
And what did Scheffler win this weekend?
This weekend he won 25.
Jeez.
But his total season is $62.2 million. Adjusted for inflation for $2024, which is very high, Jack's career earnings would have been $32,219,397. Scotty made twice Jack's career money in just 17 events this season.
I know he's worried about the gas prices right now.
His jet prices, yeah. That's
his
for
jet
sure.
prices.
That is for sure.
Oh,
but
goodness.
yeah, what do you think?
Great. That's insane. That's
Just
insane.
an absolutely dominating performance, no doubt about it.
At what point do you get back into the driver's seat in 2025 and get your goal? I know you're not playing golf for money at this point. I don't know what you're playing golf for. Hopefully you got the passion to continue on and, want to win these trophies and continuously be on top. But I just don't know where you got to dig deep at some point.
You know who's good at that?
Who's that?
Tiger Woods.
Yep.
And I think maybe Scotty's got that in there, and we just don't quite realize it. I don't know. But, man, great season. Scotty Scheffler. Obviously, Xander Schauffele had a wonderful season as well, winning 2 majors, but 7 PGA Tour wins. All of those either signature events, the Players' Championship. He won the Masters, won a gold medal, one of the best PGA Tour seasons probably in the history of time there, Jay. I don't know what you think.
Looking pretty good.
Pretty good stuff. All right. I want to talk about our SEC. We picked the SEC action for each team, what we thought their win-loss record is going to be. I'm going to see how everybody's doing on the win-loss side of things. All right. We'll go reverse order. We'll start with Alabama. Obviously, all five, Keith was included in that one. So all four of us picked Alabama to beat Western Kentucky. Arkansas, all three of us picked Arkansas to beat Arkansas Pine Bluff. Mississippi State, all three of us picked them to beat Eastern Kentucky. All three of us picked Chattanooga to lose to Tennessee. And then all three of us picked Ole Miss to beat Furman. Two of us picked Texas A&M to lose to Notre Dame. And one of us picked them to win.
Who was it?
Well, if you listen to our pick'em, he stuck with his pick'em.
Oh,
David
yeah.
Hayes.
Yeah.
He had the Aggies taking down the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So there's one where we've had a slight variation. All three of us picked Missouri to beat Murray State week 1. All three of us picked Virginia Tech to beat Vandy. That was not the case. All four of us picked, Liam, that's when he was running the board, picked Texas to beat Colorado State. All three of us picked South Carolina to beat ODU, although that game was probably a little closer than South Carolina wanted it. Georgia, we had Michael Shears on that day. Clemson, all four of us picked them to beat Clemson. All three of us picked Oklahoma to beat Temple. And then all four of us, including Liam, picked Alabama A&M to lose to Auburn. And then the first one we picked, you had picked Miami to lose to Florida. Well, where me and David had the win there. So you are the only one that got that right in the Florida schedule.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we'll keep track of that the following day out of each week just to see where we stand, picking those win-loss totals. Obviously, the first couple of weeks, it should be victories. We should have thrown Florida State in there. We'd probably all be 0-2 in that one. But yeah, let's see. Should we hit a couple Afternoon Delight debriefs?
We can, yeah.
Do you have one? If you don't, I've got several.
Do you remember that part in Varsity Blues when she goes, Jonathan Moxon was basically talking to his girlfriend, and his girlfriend, do you want some wine with that cheese? Do you remember that one?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. That's one of the more famous quotes that people still use.
Well, they come up with something called Gator wine. Believe it or not.
They squeeze that Gator.
Gator wine is the latest internet trend combining Gatorade and cheap red wine.
Oh, okay.
The latest bizarre drink trend taking over the internet is called Gator wine. It's a mixture of equal parts light blue Gatorade and cheap red wine.
Why's it got to be cheap red wine?
I don't know.
You don't want to mix good red wine.
No.
Good to know.
This concoction was brought into the spotlight by YouTuber Andrew Rhea, known as Binging with Babish.
Binging with Babish, nice.
Who reviewed it in a special tasting video. Rhea initially rated Gator wine a 6 out of 10, later raising it to a 7, and compared it to sangria due to the addition of fruit juice to wine. How about that?
That's great.
Gator wine.
Gator wine. You're going to need a lot of Gator wine after this past weekend.
Right.
That's for sure, to wash away those Gator tears.
No kidding.
Oh, goodness.
That's my afternoon delight.
That's fantastic. That was amazing.
Yep.
All right, I did have another one, but this is kind of related to Scotty. I was trying to find this one while I was talking. But Scotty Scheffler won the Tour Championship, bringing his earnings to $62.2 million. He is now second in career earnings all time. Jay, all time. He's only been playing since 2020, and just his 2024 earnings alone would have him 9th on the all-time PGA Tour list. How about that?
That's
fun
crazy.
Fact. But yeah, second, only behind Tiger Woods. And, Tiger, obviously, I think he was close to a 100 mil, if not. I can't forget what his career earnings are, but most of them, a lot of other stuff came in endorsements. But even crazier than that, based on the standard 10-7-5 splits, 10% for a win, 7% for a top 10, and 5% for making the cut, Scheffler's caddy, Ted Scott, took home over $5 million this year. That would place him within the top PGA Tour's top 25, earning more this year than guys like Victor Hovland, Tommy Fleetwood, Will Zalatoris, and Justin Thomas. Just further proving how incredible of a year Scotty Scheffler had this year on the PGA Tour, and thanking the LIV Tour for coming into existence, for boosting up these purses so much.
It's cool.
All right, I got a real one now. It's called, the title of this one is Autistic Band Stranded on Desert Island Asks Rescue Team for a Couple More Weeks. This could be true. It might not be.
Say that one more time.
Autistic man stranded on desert island asks rescue team for a couple more weeks.
Okay.
An autistic man who became stranded on a desert island after a shipwreck has asked a search and rescue team who found him if they wouldn't mind fueling off again, reports confirmed. Concerns have been growing for Eddie Albington, 45, since he was the only member of his crew not recovered within hours of the wreckage. But despite his family's fears, Albington was reported not just surviving, but thriving. Rescue worker Graham Hart, 32, said he was looking a little thin, but otherwise seemed in weirdly good spirits for someone who had been isolated from society with seemingly no hope for return. We usually get a hero's welcome, Hart explained, but when Mr. Albington saw us, he simply responded, "Oh, for F's sake." You think that's true?
That sounds like a Castaway deal, right?
But I mean, the only reason I could see it kind of being quote unquote true is because, he's away from everything. He's not hearing all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And if he's thriving, then, good for him.
Let him be.
Let him be.
Let him be.
Just listen.
Oh, okay. Well, that leads me to this one, Ryan.
Perfect.
Because David Hayes was talking about listening, and this fell right into my lap. This is insane. How about Franklin D. Roosevelt? You remember Franklin FDR?
I do.
All right, check this funny story out.
I'm checking it.
Franklin Roosevelt, who often, it's FDR in the art of listening. There's a funny story.
You should listen to yourself.
I know, right? Hey, I'm trying to grow here. There is a funny story attributed to Franklin Roosevelt, who often endured long receiving lines at the White House. He complained that no one really paid any attention to what he said. So one day during a reception, he decided to try an experiment. To each person who passed down the line and shook his hand, he murmured, "I murdered my grandmother this morning." Oh, my God.
Did you read this beforehand?
The guest responded with phrases like, "Marvelous. Keep up the good work. We're so proud of you. God bless you, sir." It was not till the end of the line, while greeting the ambassador from Bolivia, that his words were actually heard. The ambassador from Bolivia. The ambassador leaned over and whispered, "I'm sure she had it coming." The thing about listening is that it is closely connected to our self-worth. Can you imagine a situation where no one is interested in your story and your thoughts? Being curious about someone's story is honoring them with your time and attention. Any derailment there leads to a swift erosion in self-esteem and self-worth for the speaker. There was a coachee of mine who had a boss who would seek out opinions from his counterparts, and his eyes would glaze over when my coachee had to contribute anything to the discussion. Needless to say, it was extremely emasculating and demotivating for my coachee. Kind of random. That was interesting.
I feel that story.
Do you?
Because how many times you said, "What? Do what now? What are you talking about? What'd you say?" That's how I feel.
The art of listening.
The art of listening.
FDR.
There you go.
How about that?
So apparently a lot of people weren't listening, except for the representative there from, you said Bolivia?
Bolivia.
I was listening.
She had it coming.
Yeah. You should do that. I'm going to start doing that more often than I did just because you read that story.
Okay. Oh, gosh.
I don't have time to get to that one because we got Brad Law coming up next. But, man, there's some good ones. All right, I'll just read this one real quick. Joe Anderson was tailgating in the Bills grass lot just 2 years ago, waiting to watch his favorite team play. Anderson played his high school football just 20 minutes away from Bills Stadium at Lancaster High School. After graduating, Anderson moved on to play FCS football at Bryant University. Eventually, Anderson moved back home to start at linebacker with his hometown Buffalo Bills. After spending his season at rookie minicamp with the Chiefs, the Bills picked Anderson up off of waivers and gave him a shot to make his hometown team's roster. Anderson absolutely balled out in the preseason, and today, this is from a couple days ago, earned his spot on the roster, potentially filling in for the player whose jersey he wore to every tailgate, Matt Milano, from the grass lot to a locker spot.
Ooh.
Pretty cool story there about the one of the Buffalo Bills guys that made the roster.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible if you listen. Speaking of listening, we got Brad Law coming up. He's the Director of Broadcast Operations for the Auburn Sports Radio Network. We are your home for the Auburn Tigers here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back with Brad.
Only 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida could bring sports fans like you an app this powerful. The sports content you crave is always on. Live stream us everywhere you go. Now with upgraded programming and live game schedules, you'll always know when the Atlanta Braves and your favorite games are playing. Plus, interact with our local hosts in real time and so much more. The new app for the sports fanatic is available at the Apple Store and Google Play. From 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Tuesday. Likely thunderstorms and some clouds the rest of the day with a gentle breeze at 11 miles per hour out of the east and look for it to be 91. Tonight, there will be a variety of some clouds and possible thunderstorms with the temperature reaching 76. Mostly cloudy in the morning and then likely thunderstorms tomorrow with a high of 86. This weather is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hello, this is Rick Vossen with RV of Panama City, your local Stormore portable building dealer, located at 2241 East Baldwin Road. Shopping for a garage, portable building, cabin? We build them anywhere from 8 to 16 foot wide, 10 feet to 60 feet long. We can do insulation, electricity, transom dormers, thermal windows. Come, let's customize a building together. Rick Vossen, Stormore Portable Building Dealer, Panama City.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Diego.
Hi, Diego. It's Jennifer Coolidge. You know, I just want to say your cashback match makes me feel so special. It really inspired me.
That's great. Doubling the cashback you've earned at the end of your first year is what we do.
Well, I'm doubling everything now. Double dating, double dipping, double feature, double header, double whammy. You know, basically double or nothing.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Do you suffer from political talk radio fatigue?
We know that under the 99% rate, the U.S. economy is
Tune into the most fun and exciting new radio show on the Gulf Coast. It's The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. From the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. As I mentioned, your home for the Auburn Tigers. Big game coming up this week against Cal, but it's time to talk about the game last week and preview the game coming up this week with our good friend. He's the Director of Broadcast Operations up there for the Auburn Sports Radio Network. Brad, how are you doing on this fantastic Tuesday?
Well, we're doing great, and you know, depending on the length of the interview, the team may score again during the time that we're on the air today.
I like that. Obviously, you know, I've kind of been a big Auburn fan since about 2011, and there's been some good teams, and it always used to seem like the games in the beginning of the season that they should absolutely dominate these teams. Never quite saw that translate on the field. But this past Saturday, that was certainly not the case as Auburn just went off. Tell us a little bit about, just the excitement, what we expected to have happen on the field certainly happened out there at Jordan-Hare Stadium this past weekend.
Yeah, and it's to the degree that it happened because, you know, Auburn wasn't alone in dominating an outmatched team. 8 SEC teams scored 50 or more points and did not allow a touchdown. So, you know, that's what you do. Now, you know, Texas is ranked number 4 in the country. That's what they did. Alabama's ranked 5. It's what they did. Ole Miss ranked 6. That's what they did. Auburn, well, they did exactly what those other top 10 teams did this weekend, which is what they were supposed to do and handle business and probably do it to a degree beyond what even the most optimistic fan would say. Like on the Village Vice shows that we did last week where we talked about score predictions, nobody predicted 73-3.
Yeah.
Nobody predicted 2 one-play scoring drives and 9 3-and-outs from the defense out of 14 possessions. Just exceeding expectations when you already expected to handle things relatively easily against an outmatched opponent. But that's what they did. They exceeded the expectation.
Yeah, no doubt about it. A good friend of mine who is involved with our kids' school, a big Auburn guy, Auburn alum, goes to lots of games every year, and he texts me, he's like, I've been watching Auburn games as long as I can remember, and I've never seen us do anything like that on the football field before. I was listening to the announcers kind of early in that game. Obviously, they were up 21-0 before 4 minutes or before 3 minutes had expired in game time. And I heard them kind of talking about this is Peyton Thorne's second year in the Hugh Freeze system, and he just seems to have a full understanding of the play calling, the schemes, the looks. They just really seem to be on the same page, and obviously that kind of translated. Is that something you're kind of hearing up there as well?
For sure, and we heard about it all fall camp, and we heard about it at SEC Media Days, and we heard about it in the spring. Derek Nix and Kent Austin coming over or being elevated respectively in their positions, working with Hugh Freeze, Coach Freeze having more of a role in the actual play calling. All those things were going to make Peyton a better quarterback because they're all on the same page. And when you add to it, among the things Coach Freeze said to us in our halftime interview, I thought these 6 words kind of captured it perfectly. He said, talent makes you a better play caller. And the talent at wide receiver, if you're still judging or comparing this team to last year, knock it off, because they're not the same.
Yeah.
You cannot compare these receivers to what Auburn had in the receiving corps a season ago. There's so much more talent there, so much more one-on-one capability there, that it's a different offense. And all those things have kind of combined to change the expectation for what Peyton will be able to do as the leader of the offense.
No doubt. And you had mentioned the wide receiving corps, dubbed as the freshman 4, had a massive debut there. Kind of looked like Auburn was playing a little EA college football 25, just running 4 verts over and over again, especially in that first half. But, the freshman 4 recruited there to Auburn. Obviously, Cam Coleman's one of the big names in that freshman 4. But I was talking about in the beginning of the show when we were talking about, Clemson and Dabo. He's not ever dipped in the transfer portal. And then down there at Florida State, you've got just tons of transfer portal guys, and the recruiting isn't as much carrying it. But, obviously it's a combination of I think recruiting is still paramount in college football, and then you use that transfer portal to kind of fill those holes. Is that kind of what we're seeing up there at Auburn? Obviously, freshman wide receivers. And then if you look ahead to next year's class, too, that momentum seems to be continuing for Auburn. Is that kind of where you see these teams be so successful? Is you can't rely solely on the transfer portal, and you can't rely solely on recruiting, and I think that's where Hugh Freeze has done so far a wonderful job.
It's been an incredible job of balancing the roster, managing the roster. We'll see. Like, Lane Kiffin is the experiment at Ole Miss, because most of the additions to their team came from the transfer portal. They lost a ton, they got a ton. Their high school recruiting class wasn't terribly highly ranked relative to the rest of the teams in the league, but they added a lot of guys in the portal. Can you do that year after year? I don't know. Like John Calipari, can you take just one and dones in basketball? Probably not.
Yeah.
Not and win in March, because that's, you get all these 5-star freshmen, McDonald's All-American guys, and they're talented, and you win a lot of games. But when it comes to March, it's a different recipe. In football, that remains to be seen. And Kiffin and Ole Miss and Ohio State, to a degree, are all loaded up on transfers this year. I don't know that you could do that year after year.
Yeah.
Auburn added six wide receivers, and if we just look at the receiver group, 4 freshmen and 2 transfers that together had 25 career touchdowns before they got to Auburn. DeAndre Lambert-Smith and Robert Lewis. And KLS gets 2 touchdowns in the first quarter of the game. So there's a place for both, but I think you probably want 2-to-1 high school to transfers.
Yeah, no doubt. That makes perfect sense. And because again, I was specifically talking about, obviously we're big Florida State down here in Florida, in addition to a lot of the SEC teams. But, and some of those transfer schools you're talking about, you got Lane Kiffin, just unbelievable offensive mind, Ryan Day up there in Ohio State. But, Norvell down here at Florida State, and even Billy Napier at Florida, it's just, they're not quite those level of coaches. And to rely on, like you said, I like that 2-to-1 recruits to transfer portal. I feel like it's the opposite on that side of things. But, we've kind of already talked about this, but can you remember a debut? And I think there was a few shows ago that we had you on. You were talking about a class in maybe the mid 2000s or late 2000s. But can you remember a debut like this for an Auburn football team?
No, I can't remember a debut like this. I think you guys may have seen the note that the last time Auburn scored this many points in an opener was 1915. The last time they won by 70 in an opener was 1932. Just, this isn't happening in this era. And, 3 first quarter touchdown passes. First time since Cam Newton in 2010 that happened in a game. Doesn't mean that Peyton Thorne is Cam Newton, but what it means is, Auburn has played Samford and Alabama State and Alabama A&M and, some of these other teams over the course of the last 14 years and hasn't done this. And I think that's notable. They've played all those other teams for the last, 90 years and hadn't won by 70. They did Saturday. That's notable. I don't really care who it was against. If we don't give Auburn credit for winning by 70 against Alabama A&M, there are 7 other teams in the SEC that did something similar, and you can't give them credit either. We've just not seen the explosiveness that we saw Saturday. You're also not going to see 73 points all year. Like that's not the bar.
Yeah.
And it's really dishonest and not right. Well, if they score 45 against Cal Saturday, I can't believe they only scored 45. I told you the offense wasn't great. Really? We're going to be realistic now, but to score 73, to have 10 touchdowns and 1 field goal in the opener is notable, and to have a full stadium in the fourth quarter of a blowout game against Alabama A&M is also notable.
Yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. You were hinting to the game coming up this weekend. That'll be right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Obviously, like you said, the bar, that is not a realistic bar. But what has Auburn got to continue to do to kind of keep the momentum up? Obviously huge. The excitement's going to be nuts. I'm sure the atmosphere is going to be even crazier this week coming up. But what does this matchup in Cal with Cal look like, and what does it mean for the momentum for the rest of the season?
Well, I love that Coach Freeze yesterday at his press conference, he was asked a question that, just truthfully, I bristled a little when the question was asked, and it was, last year your offense took a step backward in the Cal game after an impressive opener. You took a step backward in the Cal game. How do you, is this a chance to kind of make good on that? And I just, most coaches have presented a question like that. They're going to, I don't know that we took it. They're going to get real defensive.
Yeah, deflect it, yeah.
He, not only did he not get defensive, he leaned in. He said, the first part of your statement's accurate. And it is a part of the story of this team to go make good on it. And, again, not score 73 points, but, to be efficient, to hit big plays down the field. I think we'll see more in the running game than we saw. Auburn could have run 70 times and breezed to a win over Alabama A&M, but they didn't. They showed that they're going to throw the ball downfield a lot. And, to continue to do that with some success, to continue to get separation. The receivers get separation and line provide time. Cal's got 2 really good defensive ends. So the tackles are going to be strained. Can you give the quarterback time to find the open guy down the field? Will the decision-making stay sharp if it's not a 40-point game in the second quarter? Those kind of things that you've got to see from this team to take that next step. And Still just the second step out of 12 in the regular season, but it is the next step.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think that was going to be one of my follow-up questions is, a lot of times when you do this, it's hard to keep that energy up. But just something about this particular team, this particular, season going into it just feels a little different. And hopefully that continues into the Cal game. That one's coming up at 2:30 Central Time this weekend?
That's correct. Yep, 2:30 Central kickoff, and not 100 degrees outside, so we're pretty excited about that.
That'll be nice. That's for sure. Anything else that kind of stood out to you? Obviously, a great offensive performance, but you had mentioned as well 9 3-and-outs out of 14 drives. Talk a little bit about the Auburn defense and what we expect them against Cal as well. Obviously, the offensive production was the main event there this past weekend, but the defense is going to have a good game against Cal to do what they need to do.
Yeah, and Cal has a new offensive coordinator. They're going to spread it out. They're going to try to go quick tempo and, try to not allow Auburn to substitute. Auburn wants to substitute. They use 6 or 7 guys on the interior of the defensive line in the game Saturday, and that didn't include big Isaiah Rakes, who may be the best out of that entire group, and he didn't play. And still they forced 9 third downs. Malik Blockton is a true freshman who is going to be a household name before he's finished here. He was fantastic. Linebacker play, you had Dorian Mausi transfer from Duke, and Robert Woodyard, who was a sophomore and lots of talent coming out of Mobile, just to the west of you guys a little bit. And those 2 guys seemed to be all over the place. And Keontae Scott, one of the starting corners, I think only played 16% of the snaps in the game at corner. And so those guys will be tested a little more. The secondary will be tested a little more, but you're still going to need a big push from the front of that defensive line to disrupt the backfield for a team that wants to try to go fast and hit holes quickly.
Yeah, no doubt. Getting back to the offensive side of the ball, you think we're going to see Peyton Thorne's legs be as much involved as they were kind of in that first quarter throughout the season? Because that's kind of what brought, in that Alabama game last year, the Iron Bowl, I should say, his legs are kind of what kept that thing going all game. Do you think that's going to be a specific part of Auburn's offensive scheme going forward? Is that kind of quarterback keeper option action that he certainly does a good job running?
1,000% yes. And it was interesting. Last night on Tiger Talk, Coach Freeze mentioned that, they weren't just calling deep passing plays. They're calling RPOs. And there are different options, RPO, there are different options for running and passing depending on what the defense is doing.
Yeah.
If they are sending another man down into the box, then you're going to throw. And if you get a favorable matchup in the secondary, you may throw deep if your guy gets a little separation. In the same way, if they cheat back, like Alabama A&M's safeties and linebackers started to do to try to guard against the deep pass, it opens up the running game. And so that might be a handoff. It might be a zone read type play where Peyton keeps it and goes around the end. He did that very well against both Georgia and Alabama. He did that well in a lot of games last year, actually, and was Jarquez Hunter and Peyton led the way with 4 carries each against Alabama A&M. You're not going to have many games this year where your top 2 ball carriers average 4 carries apiece, and so I think that he may not have as many carries as Jarquez again this year, but his ability running the ball is a significant threat, especially, and maybe more of a threat, guys, when that downfield passing game is there. It's even more of a threat because there's even more of a crease, even more daylight for him to try and skirt through.
Absolutely. That was kind of what I was thinking about when you were talking to me. You're going to pull the safety. If you're a legitimate threat downfield, which Auburn proved, at least in the first game that they are, that's going to pull your safeties, that's going to pull your linebackers, and that's going to make it really either going to stick up on the run and leave some stuff open deep, or going to open up, like you said, in the crease for those big run plays. So excited to watch Auburn play Cal this weekend, coming up at 2:30 right here on ESPN. ESPN Northwest Florida, your home for the Auburn Tigers here in the Florida Panhandle. Brad, we appreciate your time. Enjoy another fun week up there in Auburn.
You got it, guys. Thanks very much. War Eagle to the Auburn fans on the coast.
There you go, War Eagle. We appreciate it. As always, you're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back for our final segment on this Tuesday.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
I said I love it, Coach.
Hey,
Y'all are the
record
best.
that. Record that.
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. I don't like talking about ourselves, but go ahead and say it one more time.
All right, Coach, we love your show. To be local, and you got a big fan right here.
All right, babe.
Weekday morning 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hey folks, Chris Kramer with Bill Kramer GM. And the best place to listen to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is inside a brand new vehicle from Bill Kramer GM. And I want you to know we've got 10 times the amount of inventory on the ground as we did this time last year, and darn near all of them are discounted. So shop us online at BillKramerGM.com or visit us the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd. We'll make it easy and take great care of you.
You owe the IRS back taxes, and dealing with the IRS stresses you out. Fortunately, IRS Problem Relief can help you resolve back taxes and represent you to the IRS so you don't have to face them alone. Last year, IRS Problem Relief saved clients drowning in tax debt, and IRS Problem Relief is a local company right here in Panama City, not some 800 number where you can never talk to the same person twice. Put those problems behind you so you can focus on moving forward. Call Edward Corey with IRS Problem Relief, 850-784-8176. For a free consultation, call Edward Corey with IRS Problem Relief. It's 850-784-8176 or visit irsproblemrelief.com.
For the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey and Jay Henley.
This man is destroying golf.
Broadcasting live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios.
You may be right, but our ratings are up and we're attracting new youthful sponsors.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. All right, a couple quick fun fact things, just some highlights that I kind of culminate. But I'm going to start with WNBA just because their season's starting to get closer to the end. It's probably going to fade away in our discussion. But did want to give...
faded away.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to give the two rookies some shout-outs.
Yeah, breaking records.
That's it. Caitlin Clark, the most double-doubles. She has 12 by a guard in a single WNBA season.
Grasping for straws, all right.
Yeah, making her case for the WNBA Rookie of the Year as they're getting close to locking in that playoff spot. And
they've been on a tear in the second half. First time that the Fever have been over 500 since 2019.
Man, there you go. And I think there's a big reason that Caitlin Clark's a big part of that.
No doubt.
And then, of course, your girl, Angel Reese, she set the single-season record for most rebounds in WNBA history.
Now there's someone we could talk about all year long, Miss Angel Reese.
There you go. Making it happen on the hardwood.
Yeah.
Record. First year ever. The season's not even over.
Isn't it funny how two rookies come in and are breaking not just rookie records?
The entire WNBA record.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty impressive stuff there.
No doubt. Some would say, transcending the game, maybe. I think that's probably fair to say, especially with the viewership. A couple other fun facts from the weekend of college football. This is a cool story, and I'm sure you know it, David Hayes. That's Cam McCormick. He's playing on Miami now.
Yeah, ninth year, right?
Ninth season of college football, second at Miami. Back in 2016, he was redshirted at Oregon. 2017, he played 13 games. 2018, 19, and 20, season-ending injuries, as well as 2021, he was injured in the third game. 2022, he played 13 games for Oregon. Last year, he played 13 games for Miami, and he caught one of the touchdown passes for the U this past Saturday. Before we get to our caller on the line, also want to mention a couple other people. Don't know how to pronounce his name, but I'm going with Teti Iora McMillan. Had 10
T-Mac.
T-Mac. I like that better. I got the jersey. 10 catches for 304 yards and 4 touchdowns. Some pretty cool stuff there. And then Boise State running back Ashton Genty. He had 19 carries for 246 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Who's running back, did you say?
He's running back for Boise State.
Oh, for some reason I thought you said Florida State. Yeah,
no, that's definitely not Florida State.
They had like 20-something rushing yards last night.
And speaking of Florida State, we got our good friend. He's the director of sports director of sport, or whatever he is, up there at ESPN Richmond, the director of everything, and that's our good friend Alan Sandage. Alan, what's up, man?
Is this the Florida Seminole Crisis Hotline? I like to place the call.
As well as the Florida Gator Crisis Hotline, and we'll even add Clemson in there, too, just for fun.
Oh, my God, man. It can't get any worse than this.
I don't know.
It really can't.
To go from one year to the other, and, I was talking about it, I've said it multiple times on the show today, but, man, crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's unforgivable what just happened. And, I went on my little rant in the text. I'm not going to do it again, but just know it's unforgivable. These guys say they watch film. There's just no way. There's no way.
I don't know if you saw Alan's post, David, but he said they got the tablets on the sideline now, but all the problem was they were all playing Roblox instead of actually looking at film.
It was playing games instead of watching film. Yeah. No, that's I feel for the Florida State fans, but not necessarily for the team at this point. And how many apologies can Coach Norvell make saying it's his fault before these guys got to shoulder some of the blame? I mean, the offensive line, the defensive line, the lack of tackling last night. And again, I only got to watch the second half, so I can't chime in very much on the first half as I was driving back from Jacksonville last night. But my goodness, man, that was tough to watch.
Yeah, I'm switching to just no sports at all. I'm going to be the sports director that runs the sports station that just quit on sports.
There you go. Hey, not those Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. Ethan Vasco named Sunbelt Player of the Week, man. Filling those big shoes of Grayson McCall's, coming out with a ball of fire against Jacksonville State.
So I walk into a store last night, right before I get home. I don't even know. I hadn't even checked the Florida State score, right? Because I was just getting on the interstate and then get off. Exactly. Not trying to be on the device at all. Don't know the score of the game. Walk into the store. The guy's got a Florida State cap on. I'm like, how's the game going? He's like, I ain't got time for that mess. I'll check it. I'll check the score at the end. I've got stuff going on here in the store. I'm like, okay, well, he's just a really good employee. I get into the truck, and then I check the score, and I'm like, oh, that's why he was feeling like that.
Yep. Oh, goodness. Goodness.
They ran the same play like 6 times, like it was Little League, man. Like, hey, you know what? They can't cover the wheel route. Let's just keep running it.
Over and over. I mean, we were talking about that earlier. I mean, just ridiculous. Like, they went from, and I get it, it's a completely new team, but it's still Florida State. I don't know. Where do they go from here, Alan? How do they get this fixed up?
Well, I can tell you where they go. Home.
Well, they were.
To figure it out. Look, here's the steps you take. You give DJ a half. If we suck in the half, he's got to be benched. All right. After DJ gets benched, if it doesn't get any better, then we start looking at the coach. That defense is absolutely atrocious. Mm-hmm. They make no adjustments whatsoever. That is all coaching. Like, every single thing that's going on right now is 85% preparation and coaching. They look terrible. So unprepared that they act like they didn't know that Castellanos could run. They act like they didn't know what Hayes King was about. Like, they just look unprepared, man. And again, if somebody can run the same play 6 times, and you make no adjustment to cover it. Like, honestly, Boston College was beating themselves with some drops. That's honestly what happened. So it looks bad. I don't want Norvell's apology whatsoever. Bro, you lost to Boston College and Georgia Tech. There's no apology that you can say that we would accept. Just win some football games, man. Just win some football games.
I do like the idea of giving DJU a half if it doesn't click. then
Brock Glenn.
I guess
he doesn't fit the system. That's the real problem. He doesn't have the tools necessary to complete the passes that they're asking him to do. Every time he throws outside the number, I cringe.
Yeah.
It's not his thing. That has never been his thing. We don't run enough play action to get him comfortable, to give him enough time to look down the field. And then even when he looks down the field, it has to be very simple. 2 reads max. He's not a progression guy.
No, he doesn't get the ball quick enough.
It's frustrating. It's really frustrating.
Yeah.
I just wonder if it would be worth it. You go back to last year with Alabama, right? And Jalen Milroe gets benched ahead of the USF game. I wonder if you go with that mindset here in this week, and instead of giving DJU the first half, maybe give him the second half if your backup quarterback or third string quarterback doesn't perform up to that level, or just sit him for the entire game and kind of make him think about what his job is for this Florida State team. Now, he did have a couple of drops, but also I feel like he missed more wide open receivers than he did have drops last night.
Yeah, I mean, you can't miss a guy in the back corner of the end zone when he's wide open, like wide.
Zubin Mahensi, who we've had on the show with us, he does the Sports Center at night, and he was like, you just can't do that. You can't miss wide open receivers in the end zone.
Yeah.
You're literally getting paid now. You're getting paid. You just signed an NIL deal with Gatorade, I think. And
Ironic.
Ironic, yeah. Oh, man. Who would have thought, Alan, that, looking at the first 4 games, Georgia Tech, Boston College, Memphis, and Cal, you were hoping to go 2-2 at this point? Who would have thought that?
Yeah, I'm so glad I had membership with USC, so it only half hurts. Because if I was solely just Florida State, I'd be miserable right now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There's a lot of miserable people that made the trip back to Panama City yesterday from Tallahassee.
Poor folks, man.
A little bit disappointed.
I ain't gonna lie to you, Ryan. Last night I was kind of looking for him when they showed about halfway third quarter, and people are leaving. I'm like, oh, I kind of want to see if I know anyone take pictures.
Yeah.
I'll be like, what you doing there, buddy?
Man. Let's while we got you on the line, Alan, we'll recap some local stuff tomorrow. But what about the other part of the state? About 2.5 hours from Tallahassee, and that's in Gainesville. How long does Napier last there?
Oh no, man! Napier's probably got to see it through to the end of this season. But yeah, dude, he's terrible. We kind of talked about this already. Like he doesn't understand this level of football for some reason. He can't consistently win at this level. And do you know how embarrassing it is to have an in-state rival smoke you in your home field
34
and then
years.
recruit your recruits on their way out?
Yeah,
that's the word.
Come to the U.
Yeah, like, yo, that is wild. Absolutely wild. Also, real quick, just to let people know how real this can be, Virginia Tech lost a 4-star recruit from Virginia off of that Vandy loss. They lost to Vandy. He committed to Penn State. He was 99.9% predicted to go to Tech, had everything done but the paperwork, and they looked so bad against Vandy, he went to Penn State. Like, that is a real thing. So you can only imagine the type of harm that Florida had done to them by getting smoked on national television with their main recruit sitting in the front row.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was talking about with one of our listeners, Travis. He was, I was mentioning, look, transfer portal is one thing, but recruiting is still paramount in college football. Oh, yeah. And you have to win your in-state battles in order to be successful. And, Florida's outside of the top 20 in the 2025 right now, and that loss to Miami is going to do some long-term damage. There's no doubt about it. And I just look at their schedule, and, you almost had to win that game.
That they play.
Yeah, hopefully they'll win next week against Samford, but Texas A&M, Mississippi State, UCF, Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, and at least their last game of the season is a little easier now against FSU. So. But it'll be on Nickelodeon, that's for sure. Oh, goodness, Alan. Man, what a start to week 1 in college football. What's going to happen? Some crazy stuff this week in NFL football, you think?
I hope not, man, because I need a safe space. And if the Niners can't give that to me, I'm a Braves fan. I'm telling you, I might as well just stop watching sports.
Man, I swear, if we have some kind of crazy thing happen with the Niners, I've only got one person to blame.
I mean, well, we just had our...
Yeah, Ricky was just shot. So, yeah, Alan, what the heck, man? What the heck?
I don't know, bro.
We finally have a round one draft
problem?
pick, and he gets shot.
Yeah, is it us with the Taylor Swift song Anti-Hero? Is it me? I'm the problem?
Yeah.
I might be the common denominator. The Braves injuries, the Florida State failures, and now my receivers are getting shot in the NFL. Maybe it's my fandom. I'm just a curse.
Next time you come on the show, and especially if I know that you're calling at a certain time, that's going to be the lead-in song. We'll go with Taylor Swift's Anti-Hero.
Yep, and just
So
play that
ironically,
over again.
that is my song for my opening rant today, and it's about Brian Kelly. Because he is definitely the problem.
Was that on the Sports King?
No. Please don't associate me with that program.
Hey, well, tag me in that. I want to go back and listen to it.
Oh, man, I will.
All right, appreciate you, bro.
Oh, Brian Kelly losing to your Trojans there, Alan. I think that's what you were referencing there.
Yep, you can always bet on Brian Kelly blowing the first game. He is 0-6 in the last 6 seasons against the spread. In most of those games, he was favored. So always fade him in that opening game. He doesn't know how to win big games.
Interesting stuff.
That's facts,
Yeah.
though. So
yeah.
how long is he going to be able to stick around at LSU? I mean, we talk about Napier, but I think that the seat's got to be warming up, maybe. Not hot, but warming up for Brian Kelly.
They're not playing those games, man. He obviously can have a chance to salvage his season, but if he goes like 9-3 this year, you best believe, because their media would definitely say something. They're confrontational. They're not going to sugarcoat it. They will definitely say something. So he better get it together and get it together fast.
All right, so let's say this real quick, running out of time. Florida's open, LSU's open at the end of this year. Lane Kiffin, does he stay at Ole Miss, take LSU, or take Florida?
He would more likely consider LSU, but he's definitely not going to Florida.
Nice.
There you go.
There you have it, Travis.
I don't think there's a chance he'll go to Florida.
We don't have time, but I was going to ask you about Dabo, too, and what's happening up there in
I
Clemson.
can call back tomorrow.
There you go. Please do. Let's dive into some Clemson action. Alan, appreciate you giving us a call. Always good to hear from you, and we'll talk to you hopefully tomorrow.
Yeah, take care, guys.
All right, that's going to do us here on ESPN Northwest Florida. You've been listening to the Inside Drive. Afternoon Underdogs coming up at 4 p.m. We'll be back tomorrow at 11. Y'all have a great Tuesday.
Ready to go under the lights? Mosley Dolphin football is back.
Wide open down the sideline.
ESPN Northwest Florida brings you live play-by-play coverage